All right, welcome to another episode of CAS Minute, where we are in part 4 of a 5-part series on how to build an effective go-to-market strategy for your CAS firm. We've already walked through identifying the right audience and buyer persona, creating a value proposition and messaging, deciding on your sales and pricing strategy, and today we're going to talk about choosing a marketing distribution strategy. Particularly when you're a new CAS firm, the number one goal of a distribution strategy is to generate awareness. So ultimately, what we want to do is we want to explain how we intend to reach our target audience. Your marketing strategy is all about getting that awareness out to potential buyers. There are a variety of channels that you can choose. That will heavily depend on the audience that you identified in part 1 of this 5-part series. So identifying what channels you choose in terms of what's most effective for converting them into clients is going to help you understand what channels to lean into. So when you look at how CAS firms operate marketing today, you don't see very much out there. You see some firms with newsletters, you see some with a very slight social media presence, but more often than not, you see the individuals with a heavy personal presence, personal brand, rather than that of the firm. I think it's important to delineate those two things, as ultimately you want to create more enterprise value for your firm. And also, you want to drive people to your website to absorb your content, to understand your value proposition, to connect to the pain points that they have. So a few ways that you can look at marketing channels to generate demand. One, very simply, you can look at your website. Look at the way in which you're constructing the brand profile, how you are designing something that connects to that buyer. Maybe it's a modality of the messaging that you use, the brand imagery and colors that you use, but it's a great channel to get in front of prospective buyers. Now, you can't get them to your site without something outbound bringing them in, that awareness campaign. So a few ways that you could do that: if you have an existing list of individuals, maybe referral partners or past clients or contacts you've worked with, an email marketing campaign can be a great start there. Generally, you want to be very cautious about adding people to a list that they didn't approve you for. And so be cognizant around sensitivities there. Again, your goal is to demonstrate your value proposition and generate awareness. If you go hard into selling on a marketing campaign, you will get a tremendous amount of opt-outs on day one. Something that I'm more of a fan of is content marketing. So when you think about content mediums, you think about things like podcasts, blogs, TikTok, LinkedIn. A very easy step here that may be uncomfortable for many people is generating video. The reason why it's so powerful, whether it's through the form of a webinar or a podcast, you can take that video, you can then translate it to multiple forms of content. So you've got a video asset, you've got a transcript and an audio asset that comes alongside of that. And then you could take that information and turn it into blogs, short case studies. You could turn it into short form videos for things like TikTok. And so start with something that you can utilize across a variety of channels. That's going to be the quickest and easiest way to get your content out in front of prospective buyers without having to go recreate the wheel on every different modality of content. That also supports your initiatives in SEO, in getting your website out in front of people. So make sure that the back end of that strategy is very intentionally linked, that it's attributing the right references to the right resources within the content you're creating. So if you mention a vendor, make sure you get them looped into that equation by tagging them or referencing their website. Ultimately, when you think about things like that, content's going to be one of the best ways to accomplish marketing your service. The last thing I'll hit on is partner marketing. There are a wide variety of other service providers and other people in network that work with similar client profiles that you do. And so you want to build a strategy within your content that not only speaks to your client, but also speaks to your connector relationships as well. So if you think about a distribution strategy for your value proposition, you need to think about these core audiences, your client, your connectors and referral partners. There are a lot of ways to bake in messaging along all of the spectrums of channels that you utilize. But ultimately, if you have one core vision, one core mission, and those values are all aligned in what you're sharing, you should be able to hit on multiple points of efficacy within your messaging in the content that you provide. So there's a few ways to think about marketing channels for your value proposition. Last but not least, we will be talking about looking at metrics in your go-to-market strategy and how to track that. Till next time.